Hey everyone, I'm in Malibu Creek State Park here in the Santa Monica Mountains of Southern California. And in this video, I'm going to show you a little best of loop in the park. We're going to hit the most popular attractions that people usually go to. We're going to go to the rock pool. We're going to go to Century Lake, which is right back here in the dam. And then we're going to end at the MASH filming site where they shot the MASH television show. So fun hike, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles altogether. Not too tough, a little bit of uphill, but nice hike. Does get crowded here, so try to come early, beat the crowds. And I'll give you all kinds of tips on parking, beating the crowds, what gear to bring in the guide on HikingGuy.com. There's a link to that right underneath the video if you're not familiar with the channel, so check that out before you go. And I just want to thank you all for your support as always. And if you like the video, if you could do me a big favor and just click the little thumbs up, it helps me out a ton, and it's an easy way to say thank you. All right, guys, let me show you this cool little hike. So the parking lot's pretty big, not too hard to park here, but you're going to look for the bathroom, and then the trailhead is right behind the bathroom, and you can see the Goat Buttes in the distance. We're going to be hiking by there. You can also see the sign that says Backcountry Trailhead. I think backcountry is a strong word for this area, but it's definitely wilderness once we get going. Once you cross the road, you'll see a thing that says Main Trailhead. We're just going to walk down these stairs and through the trees until we get down to the road. Now, the beginning of the hike is on a road, so just a heads up. It is well marked. You can see there's some mileages there. There are trail signs. This is a little creek. This is not Malibu Creek. This is... God, if was it Vienna's Creek, something like that. But this is a nice little creek here. You're going to cross over the concrete spillway and then start heading down the road. And you can see it's nice. It's closed to traffic. There's no cars here. But we're going to continue going down. On the right is the Grasslands Trail. We're going to skip that and keep going straight down the regular trail here, the road, Craig's Road it turns into. Now at this point, we're going to turn off to the left here and go down. We're going to get off the road. The road is usually pretty crowded with people, but if you make this little turn and you go down and you rock hop over the creek here, and it's all laid out pretty well. It's not really hard to do this. You can see the rocks are in a nice line, but we're going to go over this, and we're going to skip the crowds at this point. Then when we cross over the creek, we're going to bear to the right. And now we're going to be on the other side of Malibu Creek. Craig's Road will be on the other side. You'll be able to see the people, probably hear them, unfortunately, on the other side. We're going to continue down on this side. Beautiful views of the Goat Buttes up there. Those little hills, that's where the rock pool is. Now at the end of this, we're going to come to the visitor center. If it's open, you can go check it out on the left there. But otherwise, we're going to bear right and go over this bridge. Now, when we go over this bridge, you're going to get some of the best views up Malibu Creek that we're going to have on the whole trip. And you can see right there, that's the little gorge that the creek goes through, and that's where the rock pools are, which is our next stop. When you're done, just go over the bridge. And once you cross the bridge, we're going to bear to the left, and we're going to go down towards the creek. And there's a couple little trails here. This one on the right, we're going to go back up on that when we continue. But for now, we're going to bear to the left and head all the way down to the creek. And here we are on a proper trail. It's not a road anymore. We're going down along the creek, the beautiful clear waters. A little stagnant right now, but the waters of the creek. Now up on the right here is a rock face called, I think it's called the Planet of the Apes, just Planet of the Apes, but it's named after the first movie, which came out in the late 1960s, that was shot here. And I think a scene was filmed right in front of that wall. But anyway, in a little while, we're going to reach, a short while, we're going to reach the rock pools. And you can swim in here. You just can't jump off the rocks or the cliffs. And I don't recommend climbing up the cliffs unless you're a rock climber, in which case it's a nice spot. But you can see here, it's a neat little place to dip your feet in the water, have lunch, relax, whatever you want to do. When you're done, we're going to turn around, go back the way we came. When we come back to that junction where I pointed out the trail earlier, we're going to make a left on it. And we're going to start heading uphill a little bit. Now this hike's mostly flat, but this is the one little uphill part. We're going to make the first right off the road onto this little trail, and it's going to wind around a little bit, and we're going to come up to a hill And there's a couple of trails. You can see Crags Road is up there, and that's our next stop. And if we went straight on Crags Road, we would be up there. But instead, we're going to take this little shortcut, come up to the road. Now, when you come back, you can just go straight down the road. You don't have to go back down to the rock pools. If you go straight to the road, it'll bring you back to the start. But we're going to make the left and do this little uphill. This is really the only uphill on the hike. And at the top of it, we're going to go down to Century Dam. And this is Century Dam Trail. And we're going to get on this little single track. There's some trails going off to the right. We're going to stay left and straight and go all the way down to the bottom, where we're going to get some great views of Century Lake. That's named after 20th Century Fox Studios, which owned this area at one point until the early 1970s. And there's the dam built in 1903 to basically dam the creek up to allow for waterfowl to come here for hunting. Now, when we're done there, instead of going back up to the road, we're going to continue on this wide road down at the bottom. And we're going to take this straight until it rejoins Crags Road right here. And again, we can just go back to the right if you want to end the hike now, or if you want to go back directly on the road. This is actually the site of another part of the Planet of the Apes movie called Ape Village. And I'll put a picture of what it looked like on the hiking guide on Hiking Guy. At this junction, we're going to go straight. This is the Yearling Trail, and you can see there's a sign here for the MASH site, which is our next destination as we go straight here up along the creek. Now, this will kind of peter out, and we're going to head to the left here and cross over the creek. We could go straight and do a crossing, but this is a little bit easier to go over the concrete spillway. We're going to go to the end of the spillway, and when you get to the stairs, you're just going to hop down and go through this little island. And if you go a little bit, there'll be some boards where you can cross over. Once you cross over, we're going to make the right and continue to head back upstream, and eventually you're going to see the trail up there once you do the little crossover from that unofficial spot. Now Crags Road is a single track trail. We're going to kind of wind around to the left into this canyon here and head down to the MASH site, which is coming up shortly. And this is a nice mellow area. Definitely not as many crowds as the earlier parts of the hike by Rock Pool. But we're going to continue down here. It's going to join along the creek. There you can see Malibu Creek. And you can see the little valley up ahead where we're going to visit the MASH site. When you see this truck, you're at the beginning of the MASH site. Now, this is not from the 1970s. I believe this was put here, restored in 2007. There was a 25th anniversary for the last day of filming for MASH. I think in 2008, I think it was put here for that. But you can see you can go in the vehicle, check it out. Great selfie spots here. If we continue a little bit longer, we're going to actually come to the full MASH site. And there's lots of interpretive displays, old Jeep, little mess tables over here. And if you ever watch the intro to MASH, you'll see it's all shot right here, and the hills around, which are supposed to look like, I guess, Vietnam or Southeast Asia, it's actually here. It's kind of interesting. I'll put that video on the guide as well so you can check it out. Big movie and television history of the area, but you can see we can explore all of the little things here. And then here's the iconic sign from MASH, which is obviously newer. And you can take a selfie here, soak it all in, and then just turn around and go back the way you came. All right, let me show you what this looks like on a map so you can kind of get a lay of the land. You can see it's an out and back. We start here at the parking. We do a little side trip to the rock pool, to the dam, and then we make that left-hand turn down to the MASH site. And just one note, this line that you see through there, that's just different satellite photos in Google Earth. It's not actually anything real. But from the parking area, we cross over there, the bathrooms, cross over the road. We head back down to Crags Road right here. And then we follow Crags Road down. You can see the grasslands trail that we saw, that intersection goes up here. And then this is the part where we're going to turn off right here. Now, if we took Crags Road, it would just come all the way around and sort of does a loop and meets us right there. But instead, we're going to do the rock crossing right over here, cross over the creek, make that right, and then sort of parallel Crags Road, but on the other side. When we get here, we're at the visitor center. There it is right there. Here's the bridge with the great views, and if we look up, you can see the gorge right here that Malibu Creek goes through. Again, a really good rock climbing area. And actually, they shot part of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's an older film with Paul Newman and Robert Redford. But if you saw that, the part where they jump down is actually at Century Lake up in here in this gorge. But anyway, cross the bridge, make that hard left, head down to the creek, and then we come down to the rock pool right here that you can see. Now, when we come back, we're going to swing around. We come back here. Instead of going back to the bridge, we make that hard left. We go up. There's the trail comes around. We're going to do that short, a little climb back up to Crags Road. And if we went on Crags Road, we would come along here. And again, you can just go back down along the road on the way back if you'd like. At the top of the climb, we're going to do this little left-hand turn, go downhill down to Century Lake right here. And there's Century Lake. This is where the scene from Butch Cassidy was. If you watch the trailer, I'll put a video on the website too. When we're done the lake, we're going to head back down underneath Crags Road. You can see Crags Road is up top here. There it is. You can see we're going down along the bottom. We rejoin the road. We go straight for a while until we get up to the concrete spillway or dam. And then we make that hard left, do the little crossing, and then rejoin the trail up here. Now, there is another alternate crossing that you can do. If for some reason this is not doable, you can try to cross up here. There's usually some logs at this point too, and you can rejoin the trail. And then when you do, if you remember, there was sort of a round or a left-hand turn around a cliff right here. And then here we've entered the little canyon where the creek is. We go down along the creek until we get down to the MASH site right here. And here you can see the trucks and everything. And you explore there, and then you just head back the way you came.